meeting of the Historic District Commission to order. If I can get a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? All right. We get a motion to approve the next meeting.
I'll make the motion.
Motion for approval. I have a second.
I'll second the motion.
A second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Jump right in, get started. 12 Broad Street. We're going to come on forward, please. How are you this evening?
Great, how you all doing?
All right, all right. We'll have you introduce yourself and tell us what you want to get done here.
All right, I'm Joe Brittenham. I'm representing Coastal Provisions. We recently just took over Boxcar Main, made it to Borgave. So now we're looking into taking over the Globe, calling Oak at the Globe. We have multiple outside the Eastern Shore. So we're going to take the Globe, basically what it is, with the theater. We're just going to come in, change it up a little bit what was previous, and I'm looking for permission of changing the sign up front, just to add to it, not actually change it, but add to it. That's pretty much it. We're kind of hoping we can change that around a little bit, because it is a kind of a landmark. When people say Globe area, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So there you go. On the photo, we're just going to like to add just Oak at. That's the previous is the Globe is already there. We just want to add Oak at on top of the building. Same color as the existing color, and it'll be painted on.
Okay. Well, let me. The only issue that I can see, or that possibly could arise with another painting coming on this sign, or on the front of this building, is what if in 6 months that Oak at the Globe is gone, and I'm left with a painted Oak at the Globe on front?
So
Could it be a possibility to do the Oak at, and maybe a piece of some wood or something like that?
well, I try not to touch the brick as much as possible.
Right.
That's one of my things, because it's just so brittle. We're talking to one of the owners today, or myself, and we're talking about maybe not even putting Oak on the wall and just doing the doors only. Because people already say, they call it the Globe, it don't matter what you call it, Oak at the Globe, they're gonna say the Globe.
Yeah.
And the time we spend for scaffolding and hiring someone to do that, it's kind of like, they're gonna call it the Globe. So if we just do the windows, we're kind of happy with that anyway.
I like it on
That
the,
definitely changes things
Yeah.
with me.
Yeah, we definitely like to have it on the doors, but the brick itself, I did a local fire department of mine, I'm part of it, we actually did a wood piece like that.
Mhm.
I try to recommend what was back in the 30s.
Mhm.
It was called a company, now it's a fire department, and it did the same thing, it probably lasted 5 years, the wood.
Right.
That's why I think a lot of people do the painting. We would love to get an existing sign that was there previous, but it's a little hard. Maybe down the road or something, but if you're good with just the windows, we're fine with that. The painting I can understand. If somebody does move, I don't know what he went through to get the Globe that's on there now.
Yeah.
We were just trying to make it a little easier.
Yeah, I
Just
understand that. I'm just looking at in historic.
I mean, it's easier
interest
to
on
paint.
that building. You know, if something happens and all of a sudden we've got to bring a sandblaster in there, and
Yeah, I
there's
mean-
a new person in there and they're not Oak at the Globe.
Well, if it was a original brick, I can understand completely, but being painted, I feel like you could just paint it a brick.
Yeah.
You know, if it was the original brick, 100% with a wooden sign, screwed right to the brick, easy to pop off.
I like how the original, the Globe, I think that's cool because it reflects the new old paintings that we're having done on the brick around the town, number one. But I think when you're adding Oak at, it sets it kind of off balance a little. It doesn't look centered, I think it looks kind of better just the Globe, and people call it that
Okay.
anyway.
How about with the doors?
Can
we go with just the doors then?
oh, yes, absolutely.
Because it's just a razor blade off.
And I don't know that I would not approve where it says Oak at the
Yeah, we were talking today prior before this is the cost. Like, is it really worth it?
Yeah, for 2 words.
Correct. Because it's not like you can get up there with like a 10-foot ladder and just paint it on.
Yeah,
The other thing
he
is you
did
can't see it well from the sidewalk,
Correct.
so.
You are still welcome to do it. I'm the chairman, I'm not a vote unless it comes down to a tie, then I'm a vote.
Right.
I can only express my opinion. So each council or each commissioner will express their opinions on it, but you can still apply for it. If the
Okay.
commissioners do vote for it, then most definitely you would be approved to go ahead and put oak at the top.
Okay.
What did Brian and John?
Yeah, I would like to hear from you.
Well, I could narrow down on this a little bit if you want, but I think you're probably correct that you should probably leave the oak off the wall because it's crammed up at the top. You know, if you were repainting the whole thing and moving it down and putting the globe in one line, it would fit better. The oak part on the top, it's instead of building the word on the path, they used the art filter, which means you can see the E, how it's kind of like this.
Mm-hmm.
See what I mean? So it's a little distorted at the top of the words, so it kind of distorts those letters. But that's like an easy fix that you can talk to your designer about.
Yeah, what I did, a friend of mine's an architect, and they threw this up real quick,
Yeah.
so you can get an idea. What I would do, if I did do this, it'd be the exact same as the globe has a 2D look to it, has a shadow as the globe has. It would be the same concept.
That'd be much nicer.
But for them to do that, their font wasn't
Yep.
up to par.
That
compared-
font is
yeah,
actually-
all right. But I was trying to give a rough idea of exactly what it would look like in a visual.
Yep. That font's actually period specific. That's
Yeah.
actually pretty good. That font's from like 1901. It's a good.
Yeah.
It's called Copperplate Gothic. It's the same one that the Mermaid Museum uses on the side.
Okay.
On the windows, are they going to be black letters? It looks like you have white window here.
We're thinking more white because we wanted it to smoke that, but I think they're dark anyway, so it's kind of like, so it's just maybe like white blood or.
They used to have an edge. They used
I
to
got
have
it on the inside, but I want to put it on outside.
They used to have an edge glass vinyl on those windows, and it did look nice. And I think they switched them to white, which, I mean, will look great in the daytime when it's lit.
Yeah, it's just hard with it, the cover in there.
Yep.
You get a shadow day like today, it looks tinted,
Look at-
and I see me working in there now, people are constantly.
You get any window in the daytime, whether it has an awning or not, is going to look dark.
So that's why I didn't really want to, I call that a pantry frost kind of deal. I told the architect to do that so you could get a visual, because if I did just white, it wouldn't, she kind of made that up for me.
They're already on the doors though, correct?
On the inside. But I want to put them on outside, kind of like what I did for Borgata. And they're not expensive at all. Now, the paint outside is very expensive.
It'll be nice if you match the typeface to the globe and then had
Correct.
at the one line instead of stacked above each other. You know, but that's just design thing. You can do what you want, but just make sure that I would do the white and I would need to put that off the front. If I was you.
Mary? You have-
I'm just pondering, when you say outside, you mean the outside door that is the entrance to the restaurant?
Yes, ma'am.
Not that you're going to take the arches and make 2 doors on
No,
the outside of the
no.
sidewalk? Okay, just want to clarify
No.
that. All right, that makes sense. Okay, it's fine.
No, it's just dark in there, yeah. I think lighting needs to be better. It looks a little sketchy.
Do you think where you're just getting going, that it would be good to just maybe do the doors now and save the expense of the painting?
Yep,
And then, you know, if you should decide
come back,
that
correct.
you really do want the painting, I don't think anybody would object to it, but it might be helpful to you to start that way.
Right. What we talked about was, and that was part of the issue, was the cramming. Go back to that. We talked about repainting the whole thing and actually dropping it and putting at and the together. So that we just oaked at the top. So at and the would be in the same category but smaller. So if we did that, it would cost more, so we have to redo the whole thing. So that's when we come back to plan A and said, let's just not do it. let's just go to doors, leave the globe, or we'll call it globe anyway.
Yeah. Prior to this being painted on there was that lighted marquee sign. I think everybody loved that sign. Prior to that marquee sign, you'll notice those two holes that are in the
Correct.
front of the building. That was a wooden vertical sign that was perpendicular.
Vertical or metal, or I think it was a light up back in the theater states.
Yeah, before the marquee, before
Okay.
the lighted sign, there was a wooden sign.
Okay.
That was there, that said the globe, and it was in vertical type base.
I got you.
So if you wanted to not take the expense of.
I like to save my money, really, is what we like to do,
Yeah.
and go to the old school light up, back in the theater style. So I would
See,
present
what
that
we-
later.
what
Like,
we-
remember the light bulbs? Yep,
When we approved the marquee,
okay.
that, and I'm old, but that's what was there, I don't know if you all remember, well, we were growing up and it really was a movie theater.
Yeah, I think
That's why
The
they.
lady
pointed
before
out.
had that and auctioned that off and whatever. But that's our goal, and that's what we talked about today. It's like, hey, let's save this money, and maybe down the future, a couple years from now, we can go back to it. Okay.
John, did you have anything to add?
No, I had the same concerns you did about just if you were to leave there, then we have that on the front of the building and you have to go through the process of removing it. And I would just prefer it not be there. I'm not a big fan of it at this point. I really don't even, not a big fan of the globe, the way it is on there. So, I think it's a good idea maybe to wait and just do
Just do the doors,
doors.
just do the
So I get
doors.
approved for the doors.
Well, yeah, we have to.
Yeah, I understand.
information on it,
Yeah, we're
but
making motion now, are you, and you also are applying, so, because the motion is gonna be, you want to know
We
separate?
have to.
Mhm.
Good.
Yeah, so-
Okay, all right, so then, Commissioners, does someone want to entertain a motion, to what he's asking for?
Now, are you really, are you okay with just the doors?
Yep,
Okay.
yeah, you're gonna call the globe anyway. You're gonna skip that part.
I'm so old as old as the globe. Well, I will make a motion on case number 10-2-24-15 regarding the application on sign that the painting presented will not be done and the presentation of the wording on the doors are approved as shown. Okay.
All right, we have a motion on the floor, can I get a second?
second.
So we have a motion, we have a second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, that part, we are through. And now on the next part, and this is to the trash replacement, go ahead and tell us what you want to do here.
So on the side of the building is a walk-in, and it has a, behind the other property is a fence. I don't know much about the fence, I've overheard a few things about it, but what I like to do is be able to take that fence down and an additional add to be able to put two-yard cans there for our trash. As Berlin is, we're pretty tight on area, of course, but I like to have the responsibility for our own cans. So that's where I think really, it would fit perfect. Actually, it's my truck there, so right in front of it, it's probably about, on the other side of that fence, it's probably another 2.5 foot. And then from there, it's probably 6 foot from the road to the walk-in. So then the cans are 2 foot, well, 2 yards or 4 foot wide. So it would leave a few feet between that and the road. And the garbage man pulls them out physically, then dumps them. And I would want to be able to put 2 there, so I'm asking to take the fence down to put the 2 cans there.
Well, when the current owner bought the property and came to the board to do the tiki bar in the back and everything, on those plans was a specific area for a dumpster. And as usual, they didn't they did not put the dumpster where it was supposed to be, and on and on and on. Did Carolyn, did you get up with Carolyn?
Yes,
Do you have what we approved for the dumpster or from before? Because that fence is supposed to go all the way down. I mean, there's a lot of things with this property that should have been done that have not been done. And of course, that's not your responsibility, you are not the owner. Do you have where the plans, Carol, where we approved that dumpster?
I just brought the minutes.
She's got the minutes.
Okay, okay.
And I know that it was tight for one dumpster. I don't know what the size of that dumpster was, but there was an issue in those, but it wasn't a pull-out dumpster, what you're talking about. They would physically get out, pull the dumpster out. The dumpster that was there before was way bigger than that.
Huge, huge.
That could not be pulled out. And it was just inundated with trash and things
And
like
glass
that.
all over the
Yeah.
street and other people's parking lots and so forth. We know you're not going to be that.
No, for Borg Ivory, we had the exact same dumpsters behind the other building. And that's what I just wanted to, because then I can be, manager-wise, they can be liable for our manager. So like I can say, hey, we're getting in trouble, we got to fine because the manager's not following up.
Well, I don't have a problem with you doing pull-out. I think that's a lot better. But we don't want, see that, the issue is that street
It's a visual.
is a visual
coming
and there's
down.
more things going down there. And we want it to be that when people walk down there, they don't see dumpsters and trash cans and old chairs and on and on and on. And the owner now said they would put in the fence that we approved, and that didn't get done. And it's just being respectful to the other businesses on that road and the people that come to visit town. I just, it doesn't look good. It just doesn't look good.
So you're talking about off Gay Street, if I put two of them there, it wouldn't look good.
Well, not if you can see them. That's the whole point.
The fence is great as far as making whatever we do, if they opened, I don't, if the trash collection. As I said, when you come into Broad Street, there you are with the glow, coming in, a lot of foot traffic on the other side of the street. And unfortunately, because what it was a place for waste, the housekeeping wasn't great, and it all came up to our attention. And keeping Berlin, I hate to use the word pristine, but it really is. It's kept really nice. We've got to come up with something. to
Well, it's
do
put me in
trash.
the pickle because I have no other place to put them.
Well, I understand.
And I mean, if I was Ryan's Reef, I could understand because they're in a corner and it's really hard. But for
Well,
us,
the thing is, when the current owner bought the property before the tiki bar, the prior owner had a big dumpster in the back that nobody could see, and the Atlantic Hotel, and Rain Street, and the Globe all shared it. They all paid their part, and then when the property got sold to the current owner, they just took it out. So the Atlantic Hotel will have got a dumpster. I don't know what Rain Street does with their trash.
And you used to put it as pick up and take it away.
Well, he probably still has to because
The original dumpster,
he
it was.
is, the town of
Tiki
Berlin
Tins,
is sitting there on
it
Broad
was
Street.
but you couldn't see it. It's huge, and you could not see it. It could be dumped for. I mean, there was no issue.
I guess you wonder why we're going on and on about this, but this has been a thorn in our side because we
For
all care
years.
so much about the visual of Berlin.
Yeah.
And there are other properties that have done similar things, haven't taken care of the
Well,
back door, I'll say.
Range Reefs has a Berlin can sitting at the door on the main street.
Well, the town had to put that.
That's a
there.
green one.
Wow.
So that's right there, when you walk out the Globe and you walk out the hotel, it's sitting there.
You mean a waste basket for.
No, it's a green trash can. Like the town is.
Well, I guess well, that would be a good
Is
town
it
question.
on Main Street?
It's right on the walk path of the sidewalk.
rather than
on
have
Main
trash
Street.
on the sidewalk.
That would
perhaps.
not, that would not be where Rains is disposing of their commercial trash.
No, that would be for people coming out with ice cream cone and napkins and a cup or
It's a
something,
green
they don't want on the
can. I don't know, I
sidewalk.
just assume it's a weekly pickup.
But it's
12 foot by
not, it's
4
not
foot?
Rains commercial trash.
12 foot by 4 foot?
It's when the kind you roll out by hand and they pick
Like
up.
we
the
have
shit.
in our
A waste wheeler.
Oh, I understand what you're
Yeah.
trying to say.
A
Yeah,
waste wheeler.
yeah, I mean, if I had one then, would it be different than the blue one?
One wouldn't do
I
the
don't
job,
know.
I wouldn't think.
No, I'm not saying that.
I don't think color matters.
It's like what happens back here with 410 Social, they've got a run of these trash cans that get pulled out.
I don't have no other place to put it.
Yeah, I know,
And the
I
capacity
kinda,
we have, I gotta have cans.
Well, I understand, but this fence is supposed to be all the way down, hide the air conditioning, hide everything, and there's supposed to be an awning put up over the ice machine. I mean, we can get back and see everything that was supposed to be like.
When he put up the tiki bar, he took away your dumpster space. And
Right.
that's the problem.
Mary, I guess this question would be more towards you, maybe Carolyn. Are those dumpsters, or those trash cans, are they used commercially? Is that what's used with like 410 Social?
Not for restaurants. They're used for like a small retail business or an office.
Okay.
But not for restaurants, bars. They have a higher volume of more volatile waste, we'll say.
All right, because I noticed them, the side, the little alley that's closest to us right here, that the dumpsters are lined up there.
The waste wheelers,
Yes.
some of them may be servicing some of the apartments.
Okay.
What if the?
How close to the road can the fence be?
Off the top of my head, I do not know.
I mean, what are we supposed to do with this?
Let me ask this, what if they improved it by taking a fence and putting it the whole way down and leave it open here and can you get black ones? I mean, I think the color does make a difference. That
No,
red color.
I can't paint them.
No, I mean, do they offer, no.
It's just like if you go to Waste Management or Green.
Yeah.
If you go to the Seagull,
Oh,
we
they're
do whatever.
blue, yeah, okay.
Chesapeake's paying.
I know that sounds stupid, but I think the blue does make a.
Well, I don't know what to do in a situation like this, when this board has approved numerous things for this property that have not been done. How can we, how can we take this?
What's the
fence
statute of
down?
limitations of when things run out that have been approved?
No, it
thus
doesn't,
far?
I don't think it does, I guess we need to have a legal opinion, but.
I mean, maybe now, if Rhonda has time,
Okay.
if we could hear, Rhonda, did you want to
And I
have
have-
something that you would like to say?
And I have worked with.
Sure.
Come on up, and we need you
Introduce
to
yourself.
introduce yourself, your, and the address that you're from, and then just, go ahead.
Rhonda Pilarski from Slum 16. I'm a little concerned about the dumpsters, and that's why I wanted to attend tonight to see what you were thinking about, only because we've had really bad experiences when the dumpster was on the side of the building. I have pictures and a video, actually, of the truck like backing into our parking lot and dumping it into the back with a car like right next to them, and then nasty stuff on the ground, old drinks and glass. It was like, I can't have
And it was on
people
the side of the
walking
building?
through that. It was on the side of the building. I have a picture.
Okay, I mean, is it just where I'm trying to,
It is, but it was, I don't know if it was that size, or I guess maybe it was bigger.
Oh, no, it was huge.
Probably eight.
It was huge.
How can they, so they can really like physically pull it out?
no, this one is on wheels. This is the only style you can on wheels, 2 yard.
So how do they dump it in their truck?
This one, so they pull it out and then it hooks to the truck. They had to physically get out of this truck and do this.
Does the truck have to be perpendicular to the building, or is it parallel to the building?
Parallel to the building. So it's just like like for instance, when I came there today, US Foods was there. Just like they park, they get out, push in front of the truck, they get back in the truck and they flip it.
So-
They can't drive to it.
Okay.
They have to get out, pull it out, your car, if the salon's here, I guess
Yeah.
that's the building going.
Yeah.
So if the salon's here, they're driving, like going down the road to Pop's Kitchen. They can't turn into it,
Okay.
no.
Yeah, so what they were doing
Just-
before was
It's the
backing
same,
in.
it's the
and
same
trying-
one in Borgave, so Borgave, you pull in the back, they have to get out physically, push it, and then flip it and put it back. Just-
So you can see, like, I mean, it was disgusting.
Oh, no, there's nothing like that.
And I mean, just trash overflowing,
I
glass
have it, I have it
bottles.
too.
This is how they backed up. See, they backed up into my,
Oh, no,
in
no,
front of
no,
the
no,
building.
no, so this
and
is
then it-
street, no.
Gross.
No, they can't. No, this is why it has wheels, so this actually costs me more out of our pocket, because we actually put a lock and wheels on it. So like Borgave, we have to pay for that, it's additional 800, so I can't,
Get something else to
Yeah.
do.
just for that reason.
I'm done.
So, that's all.
And I also, I don't need to read it, but the property, the Wainwright's auto next to Rhonda also had the same concerns as she did, because they had the glass and so forth and so on. So,
Oh, I agree 100%, I picked
yeah, you
up
understand
10
what we're talking
5-gallon
about.
buckets around the building.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
All right. More questions or anything that anybody else needs to bring up?
Well, I really would like to narrow
How much space is there between the fence and that walk-in?
Front of fence is probably maybe 3 foot, because there's a slab there holding on the, probably a slab from the walk-in here, probably about 8-10 inches,
Okay.
so that pokes out.
Would there be, if you could move that fence to the road, could you slide the dumpsters behind the fence if you had moved the fence?
Or if you could put a gate, move the fence closer and put like a.
I don't know how much I can mount that fence, you know what I mean, so like asphalt wise.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how far that asphalt actually is that over, so like for instance, if it's just past a telephone pole, if I get drilling with say a post hole digger, is it really blacktop there?
I don't, yeah, well, it's hard to say.
Electric.
Yeah, that's what I mean, so like, I mean, like, I think it might be a reason why they put that there, I guess. I think it's lined up with the other building, I'm not sure.
Man.
It looks fairly new,
It is because the
the color wise.
leasing before you had to put that up.
It's less than 2 years.
So I'm gonna assume.
So it was before John.
Or still gonna be-
No, it was
John.
It was
John
done,
put it up?
yeah, he had to, yeah, because the owner was supposed to, but he did not do it.
My suggestion is that the owner puts the fence up as he was required to do, or requested to do at the beginning. Then at that point here, you gate this fence so the dumpsters can be accessed. So that's up to the owner, I would say.
And the awning over the ice, everything that was approved, that they said they were going to do numerous times, should be done.
I
And
can't,
it's not
I
on
can't
you
speak
to
to
pay
that.
for it,
Yeah, I can't speak to behalf of the owner, I don't.
well,
Not for him, I mean, I feel like the board should address that, I mean, that's between you and him, not me.
Right.
I
Well,
don't want that to be held against me just because I'm gonna put 2 cans.
But you have to have a home for your trash.
But you're.
And that's what I'm asking, but
Make 'em home,
at the
yes.
same time, I can't go to, I mean, I don't want to get to be the middleman between owner and the historic board and say, hey, if you don't get this done, I can't get a can, and all I need is 2 cans. Mine's simple, you know, it's kind of like, he's going to spend whatever, if he didn't do it 2 years ago, that's it between you and him. You know what I mean, I don't want that to be my fault, I mean, for
but
me, for us, when I speak.
it's not your fault, but I'm just, we have no authority to arrest him to make him do the work, that's, it usually gets done. It takes 4 or 5 years sometimes, but, this is not done, so.
So the historic can't address him about that?
We tried.
We have tried numerous times.
Well, one would think you would want to keep your rent coming in and like to have your rent. I would assume that was a really quick turnaround. Most businesses wouldn't be that fortunate to have somebody ready to come in.
With a
One
good,
would
with a
think-
good reputation,
Yeah, so that,
yeah.
one would think that that would become a priority. But I'm saying what one would think, so, but we have, a charge here, to keep our historic district
Correct.
looking the very best we can. And
Oh, and that's why I try to be honest, like, since
Well, I
Borgata, I
appreciate
try to be honest, because the way, if I look at it on this side of the table, that's almost asking for forgiveness later, the way it sounds for him, right? So for me, I'm saying, hey, help me out here, but at the same time, he's gotten away with it.
But you're asking for forgiveness of what he got away with.
But that's not good.
But normally in this, with any board, 99.9% of the people that come before us do exactly what was approved. And if something is not going to work, they call planning and zoning and we talk and approve a different. People understand, what the responsibility is of this particular owner. Every single thing that they have done in this town has been an issue. And I can't help it. I didn't know why, I didn't understand that.
Joe, I mean, from what John was saying here, if this, to solve any issues, if that dumpster would fit behind this fence and that fence was gated and would open, and I don't know if it would fit behind it.
Not 4 foot.
What if they were to
So I
come
don't
up
know
with
what
a
to go
plan to
on.
make it attractive and then we accept it by email so they don't have to wait for another meeting?
There's got to be a fence, and it's supposed to have been painted. We approved the color and so forth to make it look attractive. There's no landscaping around that was supposed to be there. I don't want
What is
to
our chance of
hold
getting
him
Mr.
up
Bushmiller in
Yeah,
here?
because and I understand what he's asking, he needs a dumpster, so he's
I
got.
understand. I don't
I'm
wanna
shooting for
hold it.
mid of October,
Wow.
is what I'm looking at. That's why I went for October, this meeting 30 days advance. And
I don't want to hold you up, honestly. I really don't. But I don't know what to do about this.
Is there a way to start out with a group of smaller cans behind the fence, similar to what
That's
purchasing that,
2 foot.
until we could get this issue solved, so you could get
I can't go
done?
no smaller because the town, you can't do it because it's not residential and the can for commercial.
That's
2
right.
foot from 2 yards on it. the small
Does
things.
the company offer anything of that capacity, perhaps, that,
Just that, they offer the same, but it's the same as the town of Berlin's residential only when it's the plastic ones. When you go to metal, this style is commercial style, this
I
is
see,
small.
allows you to put more refuge in there?
Well, I guess because it's food, it's protected with
Okay.
rodents, whatever.
Okay,
I guess
I
because it's
understand.
metal,
Okay.
Yeah.
makes
Okay.
sense.
And so you will probably be the type of business person that when it's full, you'll make sure it's closed so the rats and stuff don't.
We get dumped twice a week,
You know.
so we get.
Well,
What's my plan? Where else can I put that? I mean, I can't take tiki bar down, I don't own it, so I can't take that down.
Will that be part of the restaurant?
Yeah.
Use it like a lounge?
I think the only option is to come up with some type of way to make it look attractive there.
I mean,
I mean, it's gotta have a dumpster.
if we go, how the historic, the HDC works, if we vote on it tonight and you're approved, you do what you want to do. If you are denied, you can't come back to us for a year to apply again. So that's why, if this goes to a vote and it's voted no, you have to wait a year to come back. We can table it, okay? We can continue, like, maybe Commissioner Stearns over here is recommending, is to come up with something that more beautifies than just the two dumpsters sitting there. Or to cover them up with a fence, and as also Commissioner Rose, we have dealt with this in many a times, and now with 4 different owners, or 4 different leases / owners and everything in this building, and we're still at a point that we're to what was here for the original owner, not what came to the second owner, to the third leasee, and now to you. This is what was approved to the original owner by the means of when that walk-in was put in, there had to be a fence to cover it up. That got taken down, so we did go back to the our original plan, and that was some years ago to put that back up just to cover that, which came off of what the current owner was required to do and what we're approved to do, with multiple other things. That we're just trying to keep this area, this is a very visual spot coming into town, as in other spots, and we're working on some things to clean those up and to make them better. I think we need to. I can't tell you if you want to keep your application in with us and feel that the commissioners will go ahead and take a vote, we can. If we can work, if you want to work with us, or we can work with you, I can meet you out there, or Ms. Rose, who is in our field, will meet you out there, and let's try to come up with something.
How about this? Me scanning it, if I can offset that like you did, just a tad, and put that on a swinging door, would that be better? Like you were talking? So basically, I'm putting a fence there, but I'm pulling it towards the road a tad,
Yes.
and I'll put it as a pivot. So basically, the guy would dump the dumpster, he would have to open the door,
Open the gate, pivot it open,
or at least one of them would open, or whatever. I mean, I probably have to move it, I have to move it down away from the pole a little bit.
I mean, we can meet you out there, in the morning to look at it if you want
to see
to.
if that's even possible.
Okay.
If we can table this, we can pick this back up on.
If we table it, when can I come back for?
We can email it.
Well,
Okay.
we don't want to hold you up.
This is something we've got to get.
Yeah, I'm just trying to cross my list. My list
We
is not that
understand.
long to get.
And we want to get you through this, and get you open, get you everything going.
Yeah, I mean, for our plan, for her, for anybody around us, we push for a clean, I mean, it's hard. I mean, I've dealt with Snow Hill stories as well, and I try to abide the rules, and I go through the whole process, and I try to be, even where I'm from, I've done it too, because I'm a part of the historic town in Marion. So, I see why she would be upset. I would be 100% upset. It's kind of like when we first went in, the lady by Pops was upset. So, it is what it is. If that will work for y'all, I can make that happen. It's just it's not costly. I mean, I can take the cost I was going to do from the sign to that.
Well, yeah,
You know
Would
what I
they
mean?
would they have a representative, perhaps from the company to meet?
I mean, that's fine. I'm there most of the week.
You know what I'm saying, Nori, that'd
Yeah,
be great.
'cause I got a lot of work to do.
Represent from his refuse company.
A lot of
The
cleaning.
three of you get together and you have the history and put some.
I mean, if you'd like to meet, we can schedule a meeting. You tell me if you want to meet tomorrow, I'll be there.
Mayor, do you think that it would be, this would be something that our town attorney could possibly write a letter or call the owner and maybe, get this done?
Encourage. I can't speak to how quickly it could get done. There are protocols that we have to follow by code. But we would pull the drawings out and see what it's supposed to be.
I mean, you can get back,
I can't. We literally have no staff available for code enforcement.
You have what?
No staff.
No staff available.
That's what, I understand that. And that's part of the problem with this, no one followed through on it, but,
And if that can happen, I think if some of the other parts that are unsightly were covered and then it came all the way down and just opened up to just them, that would be very neat looking too. I think there's several options. We just wouldn't know until.
Please do keep in mind though, before you start even talking about moving the fence, you've got to figure out where the utilities are.
yeah.
And that's hard.
And that may be why the fence is where it is. I can't
Correct.
speak to that. Without digging
Yeah.
much further into it, I just
Yeah.
can't, I can't give answers. but-
Would Tim have a record in his office?
You would have to do a misutility. That's the only way.
Oh, okay.
Legally, you have got to do a misutility.
Okay.
And I think they did it when they put this back.
I'm sure that they did, but it doesn't matter if you did it 2 weeks ago. If you're going to do it within 48 hours, you have to get them to come back out and and market.
But I just think if we, think outside the box, there's gotta be some solution to make that look attractive, and he has his dumpster.
So are we leaning towards the table on this and meet with him? And Judge, what you gotta understand, we are all, we're appointed officials. They're trying to save the integrity of the historic district.
Oh, I understand.
In the town, to the best of our ability. It's not, we're not picking on you, we're not picking on Brian, the owner of the building.
Yeah, I just don't want to be loud for him. I feel like if you have something with him
Yeah.
2 years past, then you should address that by now.
It's longer than
And it's
that.
No,
not,
but I'm
it's
just-
not just that, we're looking at that historic integrity that's left here. And in other spots too, it's getting worked on, and as Mary says, we're a little understaffed right now, but,
Oh, I understand.
and that's gonna happen soon, and everything's gonna get cleaned up, and some things are gonna get done.
This building's always under the microscope too, it's one of the older buildings in town.
What one's that?
It's a Globe.
Okay, yeah, 1910, yeah. Yeah, I mean, and that's one of the reasons why we looked into it, because we don't want it to see it go, we want to make it better than what it was. Because
Thank you.
I came 3 years ago to it, and I never came back.
You
It
know what
just
I
wasn't
think
like
is
that.
one of the biggest issues with that building, and no one's ever mentioned it, but it's got the brick that, I guess was made here on the Eastern Shore that had a lot of sand. And if you look at the, if you go into the Atlantic Hotel Beer Garden, the bricks are so decimated on the side of that building. It looks, it's, they've just crumbled. And it looks almost to the point where it's gonna be structural if he doesn't do something about it. It's really bad, they're eroded. If you look at it, I've never seen it before, because a lot of these other buildings have had work done on the front of them because they had that brick as well. It was some brick that was manufactured here, and had sand. So, just for your own interest, look at the side of it, what's behind the fig trees and behind, it's unbelievable how much brick is missing.
So is this on the Atlantic side?
Yes,
So I thought that was 2 walls.
is it?
So I was, the research I've done a little bit, because sometimes I like to learn about the history of something. You get older, you learn like history.
Yay.
So what I was told, there's 2 walls. So that wall there is actually Atlantic Hotel's wall, and then there's an interior wall.
You know what, there was another
It's a
building
shared-
there.
it's a
There was
shared-
liquor
it's a
shop.
shared wall.
It's a shared
Yes, there
wall.
was. So
Curtis
there's
Wall
another
was
brick
there.
building wall behind that.
Correct. So that's what I was, when I researched it, that's what I found.
That's good.
Yeah,
There was a building there.
It was, where
I
you,
noticed
the liquor
that
store.
Saturday. We sat.
So it was
That's
the
what it was.
interior.
Correct.
It was the
Yes.
other.
It's like a
building.
narrow,
Yes,
little,
yes.
narrow, straight back, and,
It's very interesting.
yes, I remember it.
Because beside you, where the record shop was, that was a jail at one time.
Nice.
That was a jail?
Yeah, that was a jail.
How do you know, Carol?
Not that old.
Really, Joe Mays, they were in there.
But in Jed Moore's book, Murder on Eastern, it says that, yeah, that was the jail, way before I was born.
We had the.
And then it was a liquor store too, I think.
Cliff Cannon, business office at one time.
They redo that.
Um,
Anyway,
all right.
should we make a motion to,
How should we word this?
How
guess-
can, yeah, well,
I'll make a motion to approve this at a later date after they come to us with a plan for making that attractive along Gay Street.
And
And
we
we'll
can
do
do
it by email.
Okay, do I meet, someone's gonna meet me there?
I'll meet you out there.
You have my information to contact me anytime.
I don't have a phone, is this your phone number? Is it-
36, last number?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yes.
I'm available Friday.
I can,
I'll get in touch.
and
You let me know.
Laura, you're right
I'm right
there.
there.
You had 4, and you say 8 o'clock, I'm gonna 8 o'clock in the morning, whatever you want.
We'll come up with something. Okay. We would definitely come up with something.
Nora, can I ask when you're finished? I have a question when you're finished. Are we finished then?
Yes.
And it's really because we sit on the historic commission, people are always coming up and asking us, what's this, what's that? Or can you tell me a little bit, I'd like to be, about your restaurant, or you say you've from the Western Shore, or I know there's a.
Here,
Snow
so
Hill?
we had one Snow Hill, Oak 54, or I'm sorry, excuse me, Oak 110.
Oak
We had one
110.
Del Mar, Oak 54, War Agave, Tall Tales, Parsenberg. We do the food and cellar, down in Burley Oak. So yeah, so we just had one in Nanticoke that we're letting go as a pizza place, but there's 1,000 pizzas, so it's not us. We're kind of looking for something a little bit on the water, so we're growing. In 2000 we started, so we're on our 6th restaurant in 4 years. So for the theater, there's a smoker in there, so we're going to have a little bit of smoked food, like a brisket kind of deal. We still like to do the theater theme.
Upward?
Yes,
kidding.
matter of fact, we are, because we kept some of the old photos from back in the 70s and all. We are changing it up to give it our look. We do have a rustic look, but at the same time, we still want to keep the original look, so everything really is not getting touched. It's just different tables and stuff like that.
You need a little bit more brighter.
So we changed the color a little bit inside.
It's a shame you took the old stage down.
Yeah, so the stage is a lot smaller, yeah.
The original stage was in there when Jen had it.
All the way across.
All the way across.
Are you doing anything with flooring?
No, just cleaning it. 2 weeks I've been cleaning. So, yeah, a lot of trailers leaving, so.
I imagine, the upstairs is really a great area
Yeah,
for
exactly, yeah.
parties and.
Yeah, we're looking for more like a private event, so if we do something like a comedy night, you can have that whole upstairs seat about 60 to 80 head. Liquor board's a little hard on you. The bigger you get, more people you gotta have. So that's why we're looking for something. We do catering for our business, so if you say like a Atlanta hotel have a wedding, we can kind of partner up a little bit. Hey, we can have rehearsal here and you have catered or the wedding out front of there or whatever. Just with something big in the area, just something a little different. Ain't much room, but the size of the fire department, I think, with this capacity. So,
The agave, the food is delicious.
no thank you.
I was there with like 10 classmates. We were planning our next class reunion. And everybody had something different to eat. And everybody's food was just.
Yeah, we get a lot of parties of between 40 to 80 that ask if they could say like class reunion or rehearsal dinners or whatever, and we don't have the capacity for it. We just can't show.
What about the upstairs there? Are you going to use that at all?
Correct, yes. So that's another place to sit as well. We're going to push for that a little bit more. Previous center didn't have many people sit down by the stage. We do encourage that. The bar is the bar. We're going to brighten that up a little bit when you come in. We do like the point where you can see the kitchen while you're cooking, because it's kind of like East Moon or Tokyo. People like it. It's entertaining. So we are going to put a few seats there so you can watch it. Plus, it'll keep our cooks down their P's and Q's to keep it clean.
Well, it's so dark in there.
Right, and that's what made us not a fan. I wasn't a fan when I went in 2000, and the atmosphere went for me. This would be, I think, right when John took it over. So that's going to be a little different. We're going to brighten it up a little bit with our colors. We got some colors in there. They ain't just gray or black. So we added a little bit of color. The wives got involved. So.
I just can't, I can't, it's too dark, even in the daytime,
Right.
to try to go in. In fact, when the fellow that just left first started and I went over, somebody held on to me to get me out there, because I really couldn't say it was so dark in there. And I just, I didn't go either to eat because I'm afraid I'd fall.
Right. Yeah, it's limited. Our kitchen is very small, so that's a good thing. It's a small kind of menu kind of deal, and we're only thinking about being open certain times of the week anyway. So maybe not 7 days a week. Right. Maybe do like a Thursday and Sunday only. So we're thinking more towards 5 to closing or 2 to closing. Just kind of like if you've ever been to what's that place in Bishopville?
Oh, yes.
I can't remember the name of the restaurant.
I can't either.
The Grove?
The Grove.
Grove, yeah.
So the Grove's only open a certain time, and it's very hard to get in, and you're on plastic chairs. So.
Not anymore, they upgraded.
Oh, did it? Last time I was there was COVID. So, yeah. So.
Carolyn, I did get the motion from our,
We didn't second it or
we didn't get a second, so.
I didn't say that, I guess I jumped in before I even said the case number.
That's all right.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's 10-2-24-15.
I will
When did you
second.
say you're opening on?
We're shooting for the 18th, but we always got a hiccup somewhere.
So
It's always something, so.
Art made the motion that it's tabled, we will continue. I will meet, and maybe another commissioner, we will meet at that site, and then we'll email on from there. That was the motion. We have a second from Carol,
Yes.
Ms. Rose. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm right there.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'll get with you, okay?
All right, perfect.
Please don't worry about this, because we don't want to hold you up whatsoever. And
Okay.
We'll all work together to make it work.
Perfect. All right, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're looking forward to you being over.
Comments from the public? Ron, you got anything else you want to say to us?
Well said, Tanya, well said.
Comments from the staff? No? Commissioners? Anything that you need to bring
We're going to
up?
talk about the South Main Street
Conversation,
project,
bring it out.
or is that just on hold?
I don't know if.
We need to
if any of them
discuss
know anything
that
about
on
it.
serious.
Is Carolyn, the South Main, the project that's happening down here, I spoke to you the other day.
Is that the rain? Is that the rain, R-A-Y-N-E?
What's any status or anything? It's where the power was cut off, is that so?
It was a temporary electric feed, and they're only in place for a set period of time.
Right.
But they're not building it like it was approved. I know we don't have anybody, but somebody's got to get it.
Can we,
in there.
do we have the authority to invite him to one of our meetings, to our next meeting?
To have a conversation
Have a
about, can he
conversation with
fill
us.
us in?
Well, he's in New York, so I have no idea.
Well, he must
This
come
is
down and
pretty
check
small.
on things, I would think. Perhaps.
Or maybe we could reach out to him to try to, I'll get with you and I'll send him a personal email maybe and just ask him if he could come.
Okay.
Could I,
What happens if that project isn't completed and that building has, I mean, what happens there? I don't know.
Is Edward still in town or is he back in Texas, Tony? Do you know?
I don't know.
He usually goes back to Texas in
But he
October,
sold the
November.
property,
But he's opinionated, and he knows him personally, so.
Well, so does the party.
Yeah.
The I talked to.
So anybody else have any other comments, anything?
We're getting any closer to finding someone to be our,
At least some interviews, there's some interviews going on. The code enforcer was your question. They're doing some interviews.
And I'm still concerned about the back of Mr. Puss's house where all that's been torn off and it's got wet.
I'm sorry, Carol, what got
Mr.
torn
Mr.
off?
Puss's house.
Oh, they tore off the back?
Well, a couple years ago, we
Oh,
have
I
some
was reading
mountains.
recently they were doing more things there, okay.
It's all the scaffoldings in the back. It's just sitting there. But they're done and done.
Shame.
All right, I got to say, gonna get a motion for adjournment.
I'll second the motion.
We got a motion, we got a second. Adjournment.
Well, that was the best house